So, Dan, can you introduce yourself? Tell our audience who you are and what you do.
My name is Dan Frakes. I am the Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for HoranFuneral Services. We serve the 5-county metro district here in Denver. The family has been in business since the late 1800s. We serve about 3,000 families annually.
In a field like this that's such a traditional field, I'm just wondering, how important is technology in a modern-day funeral operation?
Well, there's a couple of areas where that benefits us in the arrangements that we make with the families. That process is pretty much fully automated now, where that arrangement is made via a website to allow families to view the various products that we offer for funeral services, caskets, urns, vaults, that sort of thing. We're very dependent upon our internet service to allow families to view our services. All of our prices are made available to families online. In fact, in one of our related businesses, a family can actually make an online arrangement and pay for it rather than coming in and meeting with one of our funeral arrangers.
Well, and it allows people from all over the country, from wherever they happen to be able to participate in that process.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Who might not be able to come in otherwise. And a lot of times, it seems like there's one relative that's left back home with mom and dad, and the rest of them are all over the world, and maybe they don't have that opportunity otherwise. But being able to go online and look at that, I could see how that could be a big benefit.
It is.
I could also see how, in those circumstances, it must be very, very difficult if your technology is not really responding well. And as I understand it, that was one of the first things that you noticed, that you said, boy, we got to make some changes here. What was going on?
Well, there were two things. One, just generally, we did not feel that we had the right partner to provide for our IT managed service support for a growing business such as ours, where we have 100 employees, and most of those employees have assigned to them their own computer. As I came in about 18 months ago, realized that was probably a change that we needed to make, that we needed to find a partner in IT that could actually strategically partner with us for our managed services.
As I understand it, and talking to CMIT Denver, that you had an interesting challenge, because the original setup for your IT system was based on a terminal server and using thin clients, and that is a really good application for office software for certain kinds of functions. You see it in a lot of doctors' offices where they're working with medical records. But in your case, you had some specific things that you needed to be able to do in terms of showing some videos, in terms of bringing a lot of graphics, and that really wasn't working for you. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that experience was like?
Yeah, and I think probably the emphasis when the thin-client technology was introduced was more on cost savings, not having to buy dedicated computers for the users or the arrangement rooms. They were trying to minimize the cost as best they could.
That usually makes a CFO smile.
I wasn't here at the time. This was done 3 or 4 years ago,
right.
5 years ago perhaps. But I think they maybe did it without giving a full due diligence effort to what the implications of that decision might be, knowing, of course, that we did have office applications for thin client where it works very, very well. But in the arrangement rooms, where there's lots of audio and video and streaming that takes place over those machines, we were finding a lot of downtime on those computers and frustrations with our funeral arrangers and directors when they were meeting with families to have those thin clients shut down. So we went to CMIT just to align ourselves with a good, solid partner in the IT industry. And we did get that with Phil Bush and his group at CMIT. And they were not pushy. There were lots of things that we identified that needed to be done, but we sit down on a regular basis and go through the outstanding projects and strategize on priorities. And, within our budget constraints, identify just what we're going to do first and what we want to focus on long term. We get a monthly report that summarizes for executives, as well as provides a detailed analysis of kind of key indicators within the business that have to do with our network and how it's performing.
A lot of firms are really good at fixing computers or getting networks to work, but they're not very good at sitting down and helping you think strategically about your business, where you are now, where you need to go in the future, what you need to do. How good are Debbie and Phil Bush in terms of helping you think strategically in your business?
I think Phil and his team have been actually very good about that. We've worked very closely with them to look at our current situation and determine what our long-term strategy should be and for our IT structure. It's been a very collaborative process. We speak regularly now after several months of working with us. That I think they're very intimately familiar with what our needs are, what the system configuration is, what kinds of things need to be improved yet as we move forward. They're very proactive, very easy to work with, and it has been a process of collaboration with them.
So what would you say to any other CFO or some company who's looking for somebody to be able to help them manage their IT? What do you think they can expect from CMIT?
I think they can expect that they will find an organization that is genuinely interested in becoming a business partner to that CFO's business. I think they have very professional employees on staff who understand the issues of technology that must be addressed when configuring somebody's network. They also have individuals that aren't so tech savvy that they're not able to speak to the normal user of a computer. They know the technology, but they can address our employees in a way where they're not using a lot of technology speak. They're speaking in terms that other people understand and can address those problems without a lot of frustration.